John, are you ready? Is your friend still not here? He's here? Okay. Okay. Guys, I want to welcome everybody to night 4 of Sukkot 2020. And the man who needs no introduction, you need to turn your mic on. Man who needs no introduction, turn your mic on.
It's on.
There we go. It's all yours.
Ba-ba-da.
John Kostik.
Please, please, please keep applauding. All right, knock it off. Okay, now, I got to thinking this afternoon, maybe I gave this talk last year. I might have. I thought it was a new talk. Did we do Jacob and Esau last year? No, I wouldn't have done it the year before. Did we talk about and we'll get this in a minute, when twins have when they're in the womb and the blood transfers from one to the other? We talked about that? This afternoon I thought, I think it was Donna who corrected me last year, which means I already gave the talk. All right, you're all dismissed. No, there's new people here, but I also filmed this one. Usually I don't film them yet, but I was in Kyrgyzstan, nothing to do, so we filmed it. Okay, let's go on. It's still a good talk. Yeah. It's a two-parter, actually, so this is just part 1. And then, you know what? We have a special bonus tonight. What is our bonus? A live link-up with Kyrgyzstan. So that'll be fun, so when we finish this. And Andy, Mary, Janice, Davey, have any of you, because you're the foreigners here, have you watched my Jacob and Esau talk? You have? A little bit. Okay, so that's good. No, that's good. No. Oh, yes. Okay, so only Mary has to leave. They don't remember. They're old. No, they're not. Okay, we're going to talk about Jacob and Esau, the twins. And let's begin. Hello, world audience out there. Nice to see you all. Nice to not see you tonight. Okay, Genesis 25, starting in verse 19. It says, this is the account of Abraham's son Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel. Later, Isaac prayed to the Yahweh on behalf of his wife because she was barren. And the Lord heard his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struggled with each other. And she said, why is this happening to me? So Rebekah went to inquire of Yahweh. And he declared to her, this is huge. So alert, huge. 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 people from within you will be separated. 1 people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. Wow. So there are twins, we know that. And it doesn't say 2 kids are in your womb. It says 2 nations, 2 peoples. So that's going to be telling because this is very prophetic. it's going to apply to even today. Next. When her time came to give birth, there were indeed twins in her womb. The first one came out red, covered with hair like a fur coat, so they named him Esau. Here it is in the Hebrew. Next. Look at the word Esau. It's an ayin, shin, vav. And then you have this word here, seer, which is shin, ayin, resh. A little bit, two of the letters are the same, okay? But I want you to notice that seer and Esau are going to go together. Esau comes out red and hairy, and Esau, the word for hairy, is seer. These words are going to intermingle a lot in this story. Next. Also, he came out red. You should know that the Hebrew word for red is Edom. Aleph, Dalet, Vav, Mem. Red. Next. And this, oh, you nexted twice. This word Edom, notice it's very similar to Adam, right? It's spelled the same except it has a Vav in it. And I think whenever God made man, he took the dirt and mushed it together. And the word Adam is made up of Aleph, Dalet, Mem. Aleph is God. Dalet, Mem spells Dom. And what's the Hebrew word Dom? Blood, which is the red. So man, just by definition, whether he took red dirt or whatever he took, man, there's a redness associated with man, right? Adam, Adam. And this word Edom, we're going to show you, it has different, not meaning, well, I guess different meanings, okay, or different applications. The first time you hear Adam, it means red. It's the Hebrew word for red, okay? Next. Another application of the word Edom is it's a synonym for, or a nom de plume, or something like that, for Esau, okay? Because, and there's even verses that say Esau is Edom. Do I have a verse next? Let's see here. I do. Look in Genesis 36, it says, and these are the records in the generations of Esau, parentheses, that is Edom. Those parentheses are God's, not mine. So God even put in there that Esau is Edom. So whenever you hear Edom, you can think red, or you can think Esau, depending on the application. Next. I think there's actually another verse, Genesis 36:8, and it says, Esau lived in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom, or is Edom. And notice the hill country that he's living in. The hill country that he's living in is Seir, and we just saw that Seir meant hairy. Okay? So these are all getting intermixed. Next. Another meaning for Edom is the descendants of Esau. That kind of makes sense, right? Hey, this is Edom. And who are these people? This is Edom. It's the descendants of Edom. Makes sense, right? Okay. Which, by the way, Esau's descendants, in my opinion, I think are the Palestinians. Next. The next meaning of Edom, it's an area of land. It's where Esau went. And Esau, remember, is Edom, and he went and lived in Edom. Okay, it's the land of Esau. Number 5. Oh, not number 5, number 4. Here is Edom. I got a map. It's down below the Dead Sea. If you've been to the Dead Sea, there ain't nothing there. Nothing grows. Well, kind of, naturally nothing grows. Okay, the Jews have done their drip technology, and they've turned a lot of that into gardens. It's unbelievable. But on the Jordanian side and further down, it's just wasteland, okay? So Edom is considered not good. Next. And here, this verse, this is whenever Jacob was about to meet Esau, much later in the story, when Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Here we got all three words in one verse. So it's really, you understand? Esau, Edom, Seir, all one. Next. Number 5, Edom is also the destination of the scapegoat. And you remember once a year on Yom Kippur, the priest would get 2 goats. One is Yahweh's goat, and the other one is the scapegoat, or in Hebrew, the Azazel. Okay? And then the priest, the high priest, he would cast lots. I don't know which one is the winner and which one is the loser. But right, which one? Anyway, the one is chosen as the scapegoat. The priest would samek. Samek means to lay your hands on and support and lean. He would push on that goat all the sins of Israel. And then they would take that goat out to Mount Seir in Edom, which is out in the middle of nothing. And they would leave that goat. Sometimes they'd throw it off of a cliff because they didn't want that goat wandering back to town and bringing back all the sins of Israel. And when they cast lots, remember, one of them is the scapegoat. The other one, they bring in, he sacrifices it and takes the blood into the tabernacle and pours the blood on the mercy seat, right? So they're both going to die. Which one is who's the winner, who's the loser? So they took the destiny of the scapegoat, the destination is Edom. All right, next. Oh, I just said all this. Okay. I will point out that Aaron cast lots for the 2 goats. Here's that word for goat. There's the hay in the front. You see that? What's the hay in front? The. Okay. So you have ha, sirim. This is a shin, ayin, yod, resh, like sir, sirim. You put an M on the end, the mem on the end, that's the plural. But a singular would be a seer, okay? Sairim. And it's a goat or a devil. You know, the goat and the devil kind of go together, okay? Next here, what do we got? So if Sairim is plural, Sair is single, one. Next. And notice Sair, goat, is very similar to Seir, hairy. Okay? Again, all mixed together. Next. Boo! But, you know, it's a goat, devil. This is very satanic-y looking, okay? And notice it's a 5-pointed star, but it has the goat in it. I think this is the emblem for the National Atheist Association or something stupid, okay? But, all right, let's get that off. Ugh. And you may have seen this before. You know the story of Pan and Daphne? It's the old, is it Greek or Roman mythology? Okay, but Pan was a half goat, half man. Okay, he was a seer, a satyr. Okay, and notice satyr it's seer with a T in the middle, right? So our word for a satyr, half goat, half man. All right, next. And by the way, you know, we talked yesterday that Hebrew does not have vowels, right? Specific vowels. So you have to just know what sounds to put in. How do you know? This we don't know. But let's read this Because if, for example, you had a last name, and your last name was Satoro, okay? Here's how you would spell Satoro in Hebrew. There's this Samek, there's your S. There's a Tav, there's your T. Here's your Vav. The Vav does make a V sound, but it also makes an O sound. Okay? So we have Sator, and there's the Resh. And they wouldn't put a letter on the end. It's like the name Shapiro. Shapiro is 3 letters in Hebrew. It's a Shin, a Pei, and a Resh. And the O at the end is just understood, and the A sound is just understood. So this is how you would write Satoro. Okay, next. And we know that the word bar means son, right? Bet Resh, head of the house. And that's where we get the name Barry. Barry would be like, if bar means son, then Bari would be like calling him Sonny. Hey, Sonny, come here. You know? But in Hebrew, hey, Barry. Make sense? Okay. Next. So if your name were Barry Satoro, you would be the son of a goat devil. How many people were named Barry Satoro? All right, next. Oh, and by the way, if you put the gematria in for Satoro, Samek is 60, Tav is 400, Vav is 6, Resh is 200.
I would change my name to Barack Obama.
Huh?
I said I would change my name to Barack Obama.
I would change my name to Barack Obama if I had that kind of a name. All right, next. Number 6, meaning of Edom. This is what the Jews would consider the last place on earth. Here in America, what do we consider the end of the earth? Maybe Timbuktu, right? In fact, for years, I've always wanted to go to Timbuktu. By the way, I have a really good limerick about that, but I can't tell it right here. But I've always wanted, and I mentioned it off and on, and maybe it's about 10 or 12 years ago, a friend of mine who's done a lot of traveling with me, he called me in January and said, listen, you've been saying you wanted to go to Timbuktu forever. Book it. I'm going with you. It was Tom Doty. And I said, are you serious? It's not easy to get to. It's expensive. He goes, we're going. You've taken me all over the world. We're now going to go where you want to go, John. And we flew to the capital of Mali. It's in the middle of Africa, in the middle of the Sahara Desert. And there was lots of unrest up in Timbuktu, and they were killing people. So we had scheduled 8 days in Mali, and we ended up spending 8 days in the capital, which was, we played a lot of gin. Because we couldn't get to Timbuktu. And then, when we finally left on day 8, we left in the morning, and in the afternoon, there was a coup. The whole country was overtaken. So we got out just in time. All right, but that's the last place on earth to an English-speaking person. My Hispanic neighbor, if I ask him what's the last place on earth, he says Patagonia, which is down at the tip of South America. If you ask a Jew what's the last place on earth, they say Edom. It's down below the Dead Sea. It's desert wasteland. Okay, and lastly, number 7 definition of Edom is, we get it? Rome. Whenever Rome had taken over, Rome was very bad, taskmaster. And the Jews, you couldn't speak out against Caesar. They'd kill you. You can't, but you wanted to let your friends know. So they had a code word for Rome, we won't say the word Rome. We'll call them Edom. And that way the Roman soldiers don't know we're talking about them. Okay? So that is a code word for Rome. Those are the 7 definitions that I found for Edom. Next. When her time came to give birth, there were indeed twins in her womb. The first one came out red, covered with hair like a fur coat. So they named him Esau. Esau, seer, hairy, red, Edom. After this, his brother came out grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Yaakov. And Yitzhak was 60 years old when the twins were born. That's kind of interesting. He come out, and what did it say? He came out grasping his heel, so they called him Jacob. Why does grasping a heel, ding, 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 in your head, oh, we have to call him Jacob, you know? I think of this in the New Testament. This is a little side story you're going to get. But what does it say that in the New Testament, the angel told Mary or told Joseph, you will call his name Yeshua. Well, in English it says, you will call his name Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. The word Jesus has nothing to do with saving people from their sins. That's a weird thing. You know, why don't you call him, you know, you will call his name Nick because someday he will cut himself shaving. I get the connection, okay? But I don't get a connection between Jesus and saving from their sins. But the Hebrew word for salvation is Yeshua. And the angel would have said, you will call his name Yeshua, salvation, because he will save his people from their sin. That's a connection I get. Okay? So why is grabbing a heel associated with Jacob? Next. There's Jacob's name. Next. These 3 letters here is Akav. Akav is the Hebrew word for heel. Well, that's helpful. Okay? And what do we know a yod is? It's a hand. So what do we have here? Next. We have a hand grabbing a heel. That spells Yaakov, Jacob. Okay, so it's very literal, isn't it? Okay, next. By the way, this word Yaakov, or Akav, also means, here's in Jeremiah, it says, the heart is more deceitful than all else and is desperately sick. Who can understand it? That word deceitful there is Akav. And that's interesting. The word heel and the word deceitful, Akav, same. And Jacob is sometimes gets the moniker that he could be a little conniving or deceitful, the deceiver. I'm not sure that that's legitimate, but he got that title hooked onto him. Next. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the field. But Yaakov was an innocent man who dwelt in tents, stayed at home. Next. I don't even know what to do with this. I found 2 little cool pieces of information. What do you want to do with it? It's up to you. That one is, Esau was referred to as a skillful hunter. Here's how you say skillful hunter in Hebrew, which adds up to 188, which happens to be exactly 1/2 of Esau's name. Okay, so, and I got nothing else on that. So don't be thinking, I know John, you got something. No, I got nothing else on that. Okay, next. Okay, I have something else on that. And that is A skillful hunter is 188. Just the word hunter alone is 104, which happens to be one half of Isaac, the father's name. Again, I don't know what to do with that. But the rabbis point out that a skillful hunter is half of Esau, and half of skillful hunter is Esau, and half of a hunter is Isaac. Okay? And I do think Isaac is kind of a man of the field also. Next. And it says that Esau is going to be a man of the field. The word for man, and by the way, what is man's number? 6. You know, this is so cool, that throughout the entire Bible, Old and New Testament, there are 6 words for man. How cool is that? The first word that we see in the Bible for man is Adam. That means man. The next word that we see for man is Ish. What we have here, Ish, means man. And woman is Isha. You'll sometimes hear that girls' names end in Isha. You know, my name's Moesha. Isha is woman. All right? Moesha would be more woman. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. So we have Adam, we have Ish, we have the word Enosh. Enosh means mortal, man. We have the word Giver. Giver in Job, I think he uses Giver in some other places. Giver means man. In fact, you know, there are 3 angels listed in the Bible. What are their names? And Lucifer. Ah! That's why they pay me the big money. But she said the 3 angels in the Bible, one of them is Michael, who is God. That's what that means, Michael. Gabriel. Gabriel, El is God. The Gabra is Geber. I told you, Geber means man. Geber El, Gabriel. That's man of God. That's what Gabriel means. So Geber is the 4th name of God, name of man throughout the Bible. And in the New Testament, man is referred to as Aner, A-N-E-R. And he's also represented as Anthropos. So isn't that clever? Man's number is 6, and God has 6 different words to describe man throughout the entire Bible. And you can't, if you say, well, I don't believe the New Testament. You have to have the New Testament, because the New Testament and the Old Testament together make the 6. Right? If not, you only got 4, and then it's not as cool. So, the word Ish is man, and the word for field is Sadeh. So, Esau is an Ish Sadeh, man of the field. Next. And you know what? His daddy, Isaac, I think is an Ish Sadeh. Because remember whenever Abraham sent the most trusted servant to find a bride, and he goes and gets Rebekah and brings her back on a camel? And here's the verse. It says, Isaac went out to meditate in the Sadeh, in the field. Toward evening, he lifted up his eyes, and behold, camels were coming. So Isaac was an Ish Sadeh. He was a man of the field. Yes. Yeah, they were 40, I think, whenever this happened. Next. You know what? Go back to. Is that the one I wanted? Go back one more? No. Forward one? I had no, that's not it either. I thought I had something else to show you. Next. Go back one. There. It's not, yeah, is there one, go back one more. Back one more. Are you going back or forward? Back, back, back. I think you're going forward.
Okay.
Back, back. Right there. Right there. Stop, stop, and stop. Okay, now go forward one.
I'm so confused.
Right there. Stop there. Okay. Well, we've already said Esau is an Ish Sodeh, a man of the field. Next. We already said Isaac was an Ish Sodeh. Next. I put in the gematria for Ish Sodeh. Ish, 310 and 1. Sodeh is 304 and 5. Ish Sodeh, 620. Yes? Okay, next. And Jacob, it said, was an Ish Tom, an innocent man, a man who dwelt in tents. Okay? And the word Tom is mild, innocent. Okay? So he was an Ish. Here's Ish. Tom. Ish Tom adds up to 751. Okay? Together, the two boys, next. And next. If you add those two together, their descriptions, one's an Ish Tom, one's an Ish Sodeh, they add up to 1,371. What to do with that? You'll see in a second. Next. Next. Okay. Now, we talked a little bit ago about the two goats, right? There was the Azazel and the Yahweh's goat. Okay? Here's the verse where it talks about, Aaron shall cast lots for the two goats, one lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for the Azazel, the scapegoat. Let's take those two phrases. One of them is this. This is Yahweh's goat. Well, here you can see Yahweh here, right? Yud Hey Vav Hey. So this is Ha, the seer, the goat, and the law is of Yahweh, Yahweh's goat. We good with that? And here it is up in the verse too. Here's of Yahweh, and here's the goat. This is goats, but we're just looking at one of them. One goat, Yahweh's goat. Next. The scapegoat is over here. This is the Azazel. Okay, Azazel. By the way, that word Azazel, you hear in there Azaz, right? The Azazaz. Azazel has to do with a goat. And we get the word Gaza. You know, a goat is a stubborn animal, right? Just bang its head against something. And those people in Gaza, not the people maybe, but the leaders, they are just like stubborn goats, banging their head against Israel just to cause trouble. So just know that those words, Azazel and Gaza, stubborn, goat-like, they are connected. Next. If we take the two together, the scapegoat and Yahweh's goat, together they add up to 1371. Where have we seen that before? Next. 1371 is the total of the scapegoat and the Yahweh's goat. It's also the total of a man of the field, the Ish Sodeh, and the Ish Tom. Well, if God put those two totals together and they're the same, I wonder if these are somehow linked together. Okay? Esau and Jacob, sacrificial goat, Yahweh's goat. Next. Well, we know Um, the boys grew up, yeah, innocent man. What's the next one? This each Tom is mild, innocent, perfect, upright, undefiled. Just so you know, that's what the Tom means. Next. Okay, we're going to hold off that because we were talking about these two goats. One of them was the scapegoat. What did you do with the scapegoat? You put the sins on it and you sent him out into the wilderness. Where in the wilderness? To Mount Seir in Edom. What is Edom? Edom is red. What is Edom? Edom is Esau. Where did Esau spend his days? Out in the field. So there's a relationship between the scapegoat who is sent out to Edom and Esau who ended up going to Edom. Make sense? And what did you do with Yahweh's goat? He was sacrificed and brought into the tent. Who is Jacob? He was an Ish Tom. He was an innocent man who dwelt in tents. And the Yahweh's goat was brought into the tent. So there might be some kind of a parallel between Esau and Jacob and the two goats. Make sense? And one of them is, I don't know, one of them got lucky or one of them got blessed and one of them, yes. So there is some parallel there and it shows up in the gematria values of those two. Okay? Next. Oh, we are at next. And my question was going to be then, this is another topic, but is Esau and Jacob, are they, we know they're twins, are they dizygotic or monozygotic? Fraternal or identical? Okay? There's two eggs or one egg? Well, next. There is something here called a twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. Listen, I am not a doctor. I do not play a doctor on TV, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Friend or foe? Hope that makes it a little warmer. Okay, this twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, it's a rare condition which occurs in monozygotic twins who share the same chorion and a single placenta. Such twins have interconnected blood circulation. I guess the idea is that they're both interconnected, and what happens is one of them becomes a donor twin, one of them is a recipient twin, and the donor twin, he gets blood, but not much, and most of it goes across to his sibling. And the other one is the recipient. He takes as much as he can. One grows more, one grows less. And when they come out, let's have some pictures here. Here's a picture, a painting from 1617. It's called De Wilkelkinderen, the Swaddled Children. And whoever painted this back 400, 500 years ago, look what he painted. That one of them is, they call plethoric, and one of them is pale. Notice how one is very red and ruddy, okay? And so these would be from one egg, but they share these blood vessels, and this one got more blood. He grew faster. He's redder. He's stronger. He's more aggressive in life. And the other one would be more pale, more puny, skinny, anemic, just not as developed, okay? So there is such a condition, and this would explain Jacob and Esau, wouldn't it? Uh-huh. roughly the same size. Yeah, they wouldn't. One is going to be more developed and stronger, and one is going to be more, okay. One's going to be Esau, and one's going to be Jacob. Next. I think they're one. I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. But they're, yeah, red and hairy, those are clues. Yeah, maybe it was twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. Oh, they're fraternal. Okay. Yeah, this only happens in identical. Okay, next. This is the technical stuff. Okay, next. Donor twin has decreased blood, will be anemic and dehydrated. Recipient has abundance of red blood cells. Recipient weighs more, appears redder. It kind of fits Esau's. Okay, so there's a chance that they are identical. Next. This is from medical journal-y kind of stuff. So it does say that the recipient twin exhibits aggressive character. That kind of points to Esau's temperament. Deceitful hunter, unable to impede his gratification for food. Okay, next. When the boys grew up, Esau became, we already read this 10 times. Next. That's what we got here. When they became a skillful hunter, man of the field, Jacob was innocent man. Because Isaac had a taste for wild game, he loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Okay? By the way, there's the word love. Let's go to the next one because I want to show you back the word love. You know, there's a rule in the Hebrew in the Bible that the first time a word is mentioned, that kind of helps epitomize or define. That's the essence of that word, okay? I think the word grace, the first time grace is mentioned, and Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. Grace backwards is Noah, Noach, Chen, and that was, he really was shown grace. He survived the flood, right? So there's the first time grace is used. Here's the first time love is used in the Bible. And pay attention because this is going to get really deep and really cool in the next 5 minutes. In Genesis 22, it says, God's telling Abraham, take now your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him as a burnt offering on one of the mountains, which I will tell you. Here's Isaac. Here's love. That's the first time love is mentioned in the Bible. And that's huge. I mean, this is a picture of a father giving a son, sacrificing a son. That's the epitome of love. And God Almighty so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish. You understand? This is pointing to that coming up, okay? So there's the first time love is mentioned. Next. And it's Abraham loved Isaac, which is the same as the father loves a son. Okay? Now, next. And by the way, how could you not love this boy, Isaac? Isaac is, if you just study the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Isaac is really the perfect son. Okay? I'm going to show you why. Next. By the way, we don't know a lot about Isaac. Maybe that's why he's the perfect son, because they don't tell many of his stories. The two big times we hear of him in Genesis 22, which is the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, right? But Isaac he plays a big role in that story, but not really. I mean, he carries the wood and he lays there bound up, right? He doesn't do or say much. That was really between Abraham and God on that story. And then we see him again when he's giving the blessings to his two sons in Genesis 27, where he's kind of duped by one, and right? So those are the only two real big stories that we know about Isaac. Next. But I will tell you this. If you look at all three of them, Abraham left Israel. Well, first of all, he was born in Ur the Chaldees. And then when he got to Israel, there was a famine. And instead of staying and having trust in God, he went down to Egypt. And he left the promised land where God told him to go. That's probably not good. And Jacob, whenever Esau tries to kill him, or he thinks Esau is going to kill him, Jacob takes off and leaves Israel for a bit. And Jacob also leaves Israel whenever Joseph summons him later in life, right? When Jacob's an old man, he goes to Israel with all the kids, all 70 of them, and they all move to Egypt. So these two left Israel. Isaac, the good son, the perfect son, he was born, raised, and died in Israel. Stayed home. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, it makes him the perfect son. Here, next one. And here's an example, because remember, this is the one I was looking for earlier when I had you jumping all over the place. So it was your fault, not mine. Okay. This is when Abraham sent the most trusted servant to get a bride for the son, right? And he says, the servant said, suppose the woman is not willing to follow me to this land. Shall I take your son back to the land where you came from? Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. So they make a point of saying, do not take him out of Israel. Okay? And what I was going to point out about this story with Abraham, Isaac, and the most trusted servant. Notice, Abraham is the blue, right? Isaac is the red, and the servant is the gold. And you understand, this whole story of Abraham the father, Isaac the son, and unnamed servant. This is a picture of the complex unity. You have a Father, Son, and a Spirit, okay, in this story. You have the Father who sends the servant to find a bride for the son. It's what happens, right? God sends the Holy Spirit to earth to find a bride for Jesus. This is just a pre-doing of that story. Okay? Next. Let's go to the next one. Here's another one, is Abraham and Jacob had multiple wives. Isaac only had one wife. Abraham was married to Sarah. He slept with Hagar. And then after Sarah died, he married Keturah and had a whole nest more kids. Okay, I think he had 8 total. Jacob loved Rachel and got stuck with Leah, and then eventually got Rachel, and then she died early. But still he had 2. Isaac had one wife, one bride, the good son, Isaac. Next. You know what else? They had name changes. Abraham was Abram, and he became Abraham. And Jacob got a name change. God changed his name to Israel, right? Only one of them never had a name change, Isaac. He was born Isaac, and he died Isaac. And why didn't Isaac get a name change? Because God named him originally. He told Abraham, you're going to have a son, and you will call his name Isaac. You don't need to change that name. He gave it to him, right? God gave it to him. Okay, but can you see Isaac? There's something special about Isaac. He's the good son. Next. And God said, no, but Sarah, your wife, will bear you a son. You shall call his name Yitzhak. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him. Okay, I don't know why that's there, but that's true. Oh, that's... I was moving on to the next topic. I didn't realize we were still on the old topic. I was trying to think, why is this a new topic? What is it? Yeah, that's the verse where he said, name him Isaac. Sorry. Okay, so that's the first mention of love in the Bible. The second mention of love in the Bible is this. This is whenever the servant actually brought Rebekah, and Isaac was out in the field, and he runs, or maybe he walked fast, I don't know. Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. Thus Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So we have Isaac loved Rebekah. The first mention of love, we had father loves son. Correct? That's the first love. This is the second time love is mentioned. And this is Isaac, this is the son, loved. Who is Rebekah in the big picture? The bride. Next, please. You have the son loves the bride. That's a picture of Yeshua loves the church. Right? Okay, next. And then we get to verse 28 of tonight's lesson, and it says, because Isaac had a taste for wild game, he loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Well, now we got two more loves to deal with. This, by the way, is the third and fourth mention of love in the Bible. So since the first two had some tie-in, this one should as well. Next. Okay, Isaac loved Esau. Well, who's Isaac? Isaac's the son, right? That's a picture of Yeshua. And who is Esau? Esau is the not-so-good son, right? So he would kind of represent the sinners. And next we have the fourth mention of love. No, back one. Isn't it? Oh, is that it? Okay, go to the next one. Let's see what it said. I don't know why that's there. Next. Here's the Rebekah loved Jacob. Okay, so Rebekah loved Jacob. That's the fourth mention. Rebekah is the church, the bride. And Jacob represents the righteous. And I think this is just what I'm gleaning. I'm not sure if this makes sense. But you have a family, a husband and wife. I think maybe the wife's job, and husbands and wives are different. Are they equal? Yeah, I think they're equal. But they got different jobs, okay? The husband's job, or the wife's job, is to love the righteous. Get those kids up, take them to church, teach them about Jesus, teach them the stories. You understand? Get them involved in the righteousness of everything. And it's the husband's job, like Isaac, he is to love the sinners. He's the one who goes out and fights the battles and wins the souls. And you understand? They each have jobs to do. But it's Isaac who loves the sinners, just like Jesus loved the sinners so much he died for them. And it's the wife's job to raise the kids. But they each, I don't know. It's just something to think about. Okay, stop thinking about it. Let's move on. Next. Yeah, here's the example. Look, God demonstrates his own love toward us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That's a picture of the groom. Isaac loves Esau, the unrighteous, right? And then the bride loving Jacob. Therefore, I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable God, which is your spiritual service of worship. So I think this is what the bride helps with the family and gets them doing this. Next. Okay, next. This is nice to know that Isaac loved Esau, but Isaac, this is not a tie-in, but Isaac was blind, you know, and Rebekah could see. So, next. We got to the familiar part here. One day, while Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field and was famished. And Esau said to Yaakov, let me eat some of that red stew, for I am famished. And that is why he is also called Edom. So there's another tie-in for red. Here is that verse in the Hebrew, number 30. Next, I think I highlight something here. Well, there's the red, okay. Here's red. That is why he is called red. Edom. Next. I also want you to see up here. And Esau said to Jacob, let me eat some of that red stew. In Hebrew, look how they say red stew. This is ha-adom. Ha-adom. You see, he repeats it. Let me eat some of that Edom. That is a rude way of saying, it's almost like saying, hey, give me some of that red stuff you're cooking. Okay? He didn't go up and say, oh, dear brother, that smells delicious. Please, may I have a bowl? No, give me some of that red stuff. And you know what? If Esau come out red and hairy and bigger, Jacob's probably experienced a lifetime of this. If he's the younger one, you know, and at some point, he's just probably had it up to here. Okay? Conjecture, but it does say, give me some of that red stuff. All right? He's not being polite about it. Next. Ha-edom, ha-edom. Some of that red. And now, so Jacob's had it up to here. Verse 31, Jacob finally says, all right, you sell me your birthright, and then we'll talk. You know, I'm tired of you bossing me around. I want something out of this deal. First, sell me your birthright, Jacob replied. Look, said Esau, I'm about to die, so what good is a birthright to me? Swear to me first, Jacob said. So Esau swore to Jacob and sold him the birthright. Then Jacob gave some bread and lentil stew to Esau, and he ate and he drank, and then he got up and went away. Thus Esau despised his birthright. All right? You know, I don't think Esau was about to die. You know, that's, oh, I'm so starving I could die. No, you're not going to die. You know, a little dramatic here. Next. But he does reveal how worthless he thinks the birthright is. You know, what good's a birthright? Give me the food. You know, he's very living for today is Esau's mentality. I want food, I want it now. All right, next. Spiritual privilege was so meaningless to Esau that he would trade it for a bowl of soup. And it really demonstrates how unworthy he is for temple service. If God was going to choose one of these two boys to bring the line, right, Esau kind of ruled himself out. Birthright is so worthless to him. And we should talk about a birthright. What constitutes, what benefits is there in this birthright? And divine service can only be for people who put God first. Next. Esau later resented it. After the sale, the Torah states, Esau despised his birthright. Serving God was contemptible to Esau. It had no value in his eyes whatsoever. Okay. So it says, then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and he drank and rose and went on his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Does it show what slide is next? What is? Oh, you can't do that. Okay. Show me what slide is next, quick. And go, okay, that's good. We already read this one. Okay. And next, Go back one. Oh, it's just Aleph and Tav. It's the value of Tav. The reason I probably had that in there, why do I have that in there? It's right here. Esau despised Aleph Tav, his birthright. I guess it's from the Aleph. It has an Aleph Tav in the verse. So I think I may have used this slide for a different lesson, stressing Aleph Tav. Next. Back one. Back two. There we go. Yeah, this is interesting. It says, then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and he drank, and he rose and went on his way. Wait a minute. It says he gave him bread and lentil stew. You know, bread wasn't in the deal. It says, give me the birthright, I'll give you the stew. Jacob threw in bread. That's very Jewish. You know, you go to Israel, you buy 12, they'll give you 13. You know, I want you to be happy. Please come back. That's a very Jewish thing. Make the customer happy. And it says he ate and he drank. He drank. That's not in the deal. Let's jump ahead here too. You know what's happened? One more. Jacob is supersizing this meal. It's a McLentil soup meal. And you can get it for one birthright. And if you make it a combo with bread and drink, right? And you can Nephilim your combo for 1 shekel more, 4 shekels more. You recognize that picture? You saw this one last night. This is a picture from Kyrgyzstan. Well, I couldn't have given this talk last night because I didn't have that picture from Kyrgyzstan last year. Yeah. I must have doctored this talk since then. Okay. This is the McJacobs value meal. Next. Okay, so what good is a birthright? What do you get? What is he giving up? Okay. Well, with a birthright, there are 3 things that I'm thinking of that you get. One, you get a double portion. And we're going to talk about each of these. You get a priesthood and a kingship. Let's go to the next. The first one is you get a double portion. And the double portion here, look what it says in Deuteronomy. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved, by giving him a double portion of all he has. For he is the beginning of his strength. To him belongs the right of the firstborn. The word for firstborn in Hebrew is bekor. Okay? And the firstborn gets a double portion. You know, Jacob had 12 sons. He had a daughter also, Dinah, right? But what you would do is, if you have 3 sons, you divide your estate by 4. The oldest son gets 2 portions, and each other. And the reason that is, it's the oldest son's job to take care of everybody, the old people, when they get old. And you understand? Everybody else moves out. All the other kids, when they grow up, the oldest son is tasked with keeping mom and dad till they go. So that's why they get that double portion. And by the way, the word firstborn is bekor. Notice, this is so cool that God does this. Becher is a bet 2, Kaf 20, Resh 200. Becher adds up to 222. And what does the firstborn get? Double, 2 times. It's so cool. Whenever you have a word in Hebrew that adds up to a repeated digit, 222, right? Becher adds up to 222. That 222 is a hint in defining that word. The word Sheleg adds up to 333. So Sheleg must have something to do, threeness must have something to do with Sheleg. Anyone know what Sheleg is in Hebrew? Snow. And snow is one of 3 states of water. Snow, water, and gas. Okay? So Sheleg adds up to 333. It's a hint, okay? Blood. The word blood, dam, is dalet mem. Adds up to 44. That's a repeated number. 4. What does that have to do with blood? Well, there's 4 blood groups, right? So there's little hints in there with the words that add up to a repeated digit. Next. And Joseph ended up getting a double portion. Reuben was the firstborn of Jacob, but Reuben did some bad things, so the firstborn of the second wife got the double portion. Joseph got the double, giving to Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay. Next. The next thing you get with the birthright is the priesthood is going to come through you. Okay. Jacob's son Levi became the line that the priesthood came through, and Levi's son, or is it grandson, is Aaron. Aaron was the brother of Moses. He's the first high priest. So that all came through Jacob. It could have come through Esau, but he sold that away. Next. And the kingship is going to come through the birthright. And the kingship will always come through Judah. I think we read a verse yesterday, right? The scepter will not depart from Judah. Okay. So, and through Judah came David, and through David came Yeshua. So the Messiah is going to come through from this birthright. These are good things to be getting, and Esau is just throwing it away for a bowl of soup. By the way, this priesthood, Yeshua Jesus, is also going to come through the priesthood too, but he's not coming through Levi. He's coming through Melchizedek, the big priesthood, okay? But he will be through that one also. Okay, next. Let's see. Why did I have this one? We told you Jacob had 12 sons. You know this, right? And 12 in the Bible is the number that represents perfect government, okay, or good governance. And you can see he had the 12 sons, good governance, perfect government. Where Esau, anyone know how many kids Esau had? Next. He had 11. And here are their names. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. And they have them listed here. And 11 represents failure or lacking or chaos. It's one short of perfect government. Okay? So Esau has just missed it by that much. And by the way, this 11 showing up as lacking, let me show you another example of that. Next, look in the 10 Commandments. Here are the 10 Commandments. You know, in the 10 Commandments, 11 times it says, you shall not, you shall not, you shall not, you shall not. There are 11 thou shalt nots in the 10 Commandments. And what does that tell you? It tells you 11 that's lacking, it's letting us know the 10 Commandments fails. It is lacking in getting you to heaven. You understand? It's a little bit short. Remember, the 10 Commandments were not given so we would follow them and go to heaven. The 10 Commandments were given so we would break them and then be forced to find another way. And it forces us to look and need God. God has so much grace and mercy to pour out, but if there were no commandments, if there was no law, we wouldn't need his grace or his mercy, would we? We didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I don't need you to come die for me. I didn't do anything wrong. Leave me alone. Right? He had to give us some rules, knowing we would break them, and force us to need him. Okay? Next. So here we have a younger brother is being chosen over an older brother. Doesn't it? Here, isn't it? Because we got Esau is the older, but Jacob gets picked. And there is a pattern in the Bible of this. Okay? Abel got picked over Cain. Next. Isaac got picked over Ishmael. Next. Jacob picked over Esau. By the way, it was prophesied that would happen. Remember, Rebekah prayed to God, and it came back, the older will serve the younger. Next. Judah was chosen over Reuben, Levi, and Simeon. Next. David was chosen over his 7 older brothers. And Yeshua Jesus was chosen over Adam. Adam was the first son of God. Jesus is the last son of God. The last was chosen over the first. 1 Corinthians talks about it. It is written, the first man, Adam, became a living soul. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. The spiritual is not first, but the natural, then the spiritual. The first man is from earth, earthy. The second man is from heaven. The second is chosen over the first. Next. What is that? I don't even know. Go to the next one. Okay. What time is it? Okay, we're okay. We want to finish in about 20 minutes because we got our big phone call. Link up. You know, the blessing that Abraham got, God told him. We see it, he told him 3 times. The first time, Genesis 12. Let's go to the next slide there. He says to Abraham, I will make you into a great nation. Okay, let's go to the next one there. I'm just playing with Carolyn. She keeps wanting to get up, and every time she gets up, this blessing that Abraham is promised, he hears it directly from God. In Genesis 12, he says, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make you a great name. So you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. Abraham heard this directly from God, right? Nice to know. Next. In Genesis 15, God repeats a lot of this. And the Lord took him outside and said, look to the heavens and count the stars. If you are able, so shall your offspring be. He heard that directly from God, this blessing. Next. Here's a big one. This is in Genesis 17. Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with you. You will be the father of a multitude of nations. No longer will you be Abram, you'll be Abraham. I have made you a father of a multitude of nations, exceedingly fruitful. You get the idea. He heard it directly from God. Next. Then Yahweh informs Isaac. Isaac's going to get these blessings, and Isaac's going to hear about it directly from God. Next, Genesis 26 says, God's telling Isaac, stay in this land as a foreigner, and I will be with you, I will bless you. I will give all these lands to you and your offspring that I swore to Abraham. I will make your descendants as numerous. The same thing he's told Abraham, he's getting all this to Isaac, but he's getting it directly, correct? Next. Now, Yahweh informs Abraham, Yahweh informs Isaac, Isaac is going to inform Jacob. It's not going to come directly from God on this one, okay, right now. Next. It came about when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see that he called his older son Esau and said to him, my son. And he said to him, here I am. Isaac is calling his oldest son. Next. And remember, Isaac has no sight, right? Next. Isaac said, behold, I am old, and I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your gear, your quiver, and your bow, and go out into the field and hunt game for me. Bing. And prepare a savory dish for me, such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. Next. I do want to point out, there's the fifth mention of love, and it had to do with food. Okay? All right, next. Rebekah was listening while Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game to bring home, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, behold, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau, saying, bring me some game and prepare a savory dish for me that I may eat and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. You know, I find it odd that why didn't he just say, hey, son, come in here, I want to give you the blessing. No, he said, listen, I want to give you the blessing, but first, I want you to go hunting, kill an animal, dress the animal, cook the animal, serve me the animal, work, and then I'll bless you. If he's in a hurry to bless, because what did it say? Go back one. He said, so that my soul may bless you before I die. You know, it sounds like he's about to keel over, doesn't it? Do you know that after this whole blessing incident, Isaac doesn't die for another 40 years? So he might have been a little melodramatic. Oh, woe is me, I'm going to die. Now you got 40 more years. Okay? Now, granted, we don't know the day of our death, right? But he...
Sounds a little bit like what happened with Esau and Jacob. With the stew.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's right. Okay. Next. And look at this. Rebekah said to her son, Jacob, I heard your father speak to Esau, and he said, bring me some game and prepare a savory dish for me that I may eat and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Next. And bless you in the presence of the Lord. You know what? Go back. Go to the next one.
Wait a minute.
The next one. Look what Isaac actually said. Take your quiver, your bow, go to the field, hunt, prepare a savory dish that I love, bring it to me that I may eat, so that my soul may bless you before I die. He never said, so that I may bless you before the Lord. Okay? You see the difference? Rebecca is adding something that did not happen. Next. 40 years from now. So that I may bless you before I die in 40 years. Next. Jacob answered his mother Rebekah, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will fill me, and then I will be a deceiver in his sight, and I will bring upon myself a curse and not a blessing. That's interesting that Jacob is worried about being thought of as a deceiver. Right? He's even questioning, I don't want to get caught and be labeled a deceiver. Yet, Jacob has been, for 4,000 years, he's thought of as a deceiver, isn't he? Okay. Next. Oh, and he didn't want to get cursed. By the way, nobody ends up getting cursed in this whole story. So if you're worried on the edge of your seat, stop. No one's going to be cursed. Next. Yeah, I think I didn't. This was a slide that I made for me to talk to the camera. You understand, when I'm making a video. So this is not really one that you should see. This is like me reading. I want it to sound like I'm just talking off the cuff, like, oh, this is how I normally talk. No, I'm reading it, but you just don't see this one. But here's the point. Here's an example of wheat being sown into Rebekah's womb by the Lord and a tare being sown alongside it. I think Jacob is the wheat, and Satan had a tare in there in the form of Esau, okay? Because they put in there together. And Esau was put there to try to eliminate God's purpose by, first of all, arranging that he would be firstborn, and then he could claim the parental blessing. And failing this, that Jacob would destroy his own credibility by trickery, which Rebekah is trying to get him to trick your dad. But if he's found out, that would be horrible, right? God used Esau to further his own purposes rather than allow him to undermine and destroy Jacob. You know, another one is, we always see, and we're talking about these good tares, the good tares in the wheat, right? Or bad tares in the wheat. You know, Jacob, when he was born, remember, he was born with his hand on Esau's heel, right? Esau's trying to get out first. Do you think Jacob grabbed the heel to pull him back in so Jacob could come out first? Or do you think Jacob may have had his hand on that heel because Esau, the tare, who does not want God's plan to come about, who does not want a Messiah to save the world, this Esau character he's coming out head first, and he's got his foot here. He's going to kick Jacob in the head, and because we have a prophecy in Genesis 3:15 that says one will bruise the other in the heel, and the other is going to crush the other one's head. And you can kind of see an Esau maybe trying to kick Jacob in the soft spot, and Jacob's got his hand on that heel just so he doesn't kick him in the head. Why not? Okay, there's a good and bad. There's wheat and tares in this story. Next. They like that one. I can tell by the donometer. Okay. Genesis 27. But his mother said to him, "Your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go get them for me. Remember, she's telling Jacob, quick, go get some food and bring it here. I'm going to cook it up and we're going to do this. So he went and got them and brought to his mom. His mom made savory food as his father loved. Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, which were in her house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. She put the skins of young goats on the hands and on the smooth part of his neck. She also gave savory food and bread, which she had made to her son Jacob. So she put the skins, hairy arm, hairy neck, right? Next. By the way, and she put Esau's cloak on Jacob, right? And both of these boys, by the way, have good things and bad things going for them, okay? Jacob, the nature of Jacob is harmless. Jacob, remember, was an innocent man, an Ishtam, right? He dwelt in tents. I can just see a little Jewish accountant, That's when I picture Jacob. It doesn't have to be. Jacob is a good guy. Don't get me wrong. But his nature is harmless. He delves into the inner dimension of Torah. He thinks about tomorrow. We know Jacob thinks about tomorrow. When his brother comes and says, give me some stew, what's Jacob say? A birthright. I don't need it today, but I could probably use a birthright. I don't know what I'll do with it yet, but he's thinking about tomorrow, right? Esau, he don't do that. Esau is, I'm hungry, I want food now. Right? But Esau is a man of action. He can grab a bow and an arrow and he can go out and he can shoot and kill and eat, and he's got his pluses as well. And I think whenever Rebekah, when she took Esau's garment and put it on Jacob, there is do I have a word here? No, I don't. Can't. What's the word I want? In symbolically, Jacob, who had these Jacob qualities, he's now getting the Esau qualities. He's the mantle. He's the man of action and he's the man of intellect. He's both now. It's a picture of that. Could be. Okay. Next. I don't know why I have this one again, but I will know in a second. Next. I do remember why. Go back one. I just made these slides today, so that's why I couldn't remember. I know this wasn't in the original talk. What did I do? It's this whole mantle thing. Okay, listen to this. Tell me if this is a parallel or not. Jacob put on the mantle of Edom, right? Esau. And by doing that, he got the blessing. And he got to bless the world from that, didn't he? Because Jacob brought forth Judah, who brought forth David, who brought forth Messiah. And the whole world is blessed whenever Jacob got the blessing. Okay? And he took on the mantle of Edom. And Jacob, let's go to the next one. Oh, it was the next one, wasn't it? Remember, Edom is Rome, right? Yeshua, Jesus, right here, what's he wearing? He's wearing a Roman mantle. Jesus took on the mantle of Rome, Edom, like Jacob took on the mantle of Edom, Esau. Jesus is taking on the mantle of Edom. Remember, Edom is also the code word for Rome, right? Next. And because he took on, we know that this isn't Correct. But by taking on this mantle, has the world been blessed by Jesus? Yes. Is it the right mantle? Nah, it's the Catholic Church, and I'm not a big fan. He's got a bad mantle. But Jacob's mantle, putting Esau's mantle on was a bad mantle, right? But putting these bad mantles on both of these guys ended up in blessings to the world. Is that a parallel? No? Yes? That's a good mantle, or a bad mantle. Yes, the world got blessed. Okay, so there might be a parallel there. I wasn't sure, but I'm going to throw it out there because it is, Jesus did take on the mantle of Edom, Rome, right? Because that's the Roman Catholic, oh, this might be Orthodox, but you understand the big pumping heart and the big gold around his head. That's the mantle of Rome, Edom. Next. And next. Where there's the mantle that you should be wearing, right? Okay. Next and next. And next. All right. Then he came to his father and said, "My father," he said, "here I am. Where are you, my son? Or who are you?" And Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Get up, please. Sit and eat some of my game, that you may bless me." Next. There's 3 lies here. 1, I am Esau, your firstborn. Next. I have done as you told me. Next. Eat of my game. Lie, lie, lie. Next. Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have done it so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God caused it to happen to me." You know. All right, next. Yeah. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come close, that I may feel you, my son, whether you really are my son Esau or not." Remember, Isaac's blind. He can't see, right? So he wants to do touch. Okay, next. So he does touch. We got lots of senses here. He used that one. Next. So Jacob came close to Isaac, his father, and he felt him and said, "You know, the voices of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." Next. So now he's using touch and sound, right? Yeah, it doesn't sound like you, Esau. It's not like Jacob, but the hands are. Okay, next. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. Next. And he said, "Are you really Esau?" "I am." He said, "Bring it to me, and I will eat of my son's game, that I may bless you." And he brought it to him, and he ate. And he also brought him wine, and he drank. So he also used another sense. He used taste. Yeah, that tastes like Esau's stew. Yep. Let me feel your. Yep, that's hairy. That's Esau. It's coming. Next. Then his father Isaac said, "Please come close and kiss me, my son." So he came close and kissed him, and when he smelled the smell of his garments, he blessed him and said, "See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed." So even though he has no sight, he's used all other senses, hasn't he, to confirm that this is the right son. The sense he should have used is his 6th sense. Because there are problems all through this story. And we're going to show you some real quick here. Next. First of all, and he said, remember he said, "How is it that happened, my son, that you returned so quickly?" And he said, because Yahweh Elohim caused it to happen to me. Esau wouldn't have said that. Esau doesn't even want his birthright. He wanted nothing to do with God or, all right? So Isaac should have thought, what? That makes sense. Next. Watch this. Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may bless me. Versus, when Esau actually shows up, Esau too made some tasty food and brought it to his father and said to him, my father, sit up and eat some of your son's game so that you may bless me. What's the difference between these two? Next. Please. That should have tipped him off. You know, one of them said please. He knows his boys. He knows one of them says it, one of them don't. We don't know for sure, but that might be a hint, a clue. Next. Where's this going? Go to the next one. I'm going to jump past all these. Skip. I'll stop right there. I will say, when Abraham was going to go, when Isaac was going to go leave Israel, and God told him, stay where you are, don't leave. He says, I will make you as numerous as the stars, because Abraham listened to my voice. Because Abraham listened to my voice and kept my charge, etc., etc. This word because is a kev. So that's kind of Jacob's name, isn't it? And this right here, this is God talking to Isaac. So Isaac heard God say this word, akev, which is like Yaakov. Okay? So at least Isaac has heard God say Jacob. He's never heard God say Esau. Next. Whenever Isaac is up on the mountain and he's about to be sacrificed. Remember, Abraham takes Isaac up, right? The binding of Isaac, 22 of Genesis. Next. Abraham, he gets the knife. He pulls it back. He pulls it back. And then the angel stops it, right? And he says, by myself I have sworn, because you have done this and not withheld your son, your only son, I will greatly bless you. I will greatly multiply your seed. In the seed, all earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. Next. Right there, because you have obeyed my voice. Here, Isaac is lying there tied up, but he heard God speaking, and again he said, because is Akev, which is Jacob. So twice he's heard God mention Jacob's name. Isaac knows who to bless, but he really wants to bless Esau. Next. Esau, who by all rights should have received the birthright, did not appreciate the position of... Next. Yeah, that's my teleprompter. So he came close and kissed him. He smelled his garments, blessed him. See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field. And now he pours out the blessing. May God give you the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you. Nations bow down to you. Be master of your brothers. May your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you. Man, he just loaded him up with blessings, right? He's getting and getting and getting. Next. And notice this over here is the blessing that God gave Abraham back in Genesis 12. And this is the blessing that Isaac is giving Jacob. And notice, next, I will bless you. He says, I will bless you. Next, He says, I will make you a great nation. Here, people may serve you and nations will bow down to you. The blessings are the same, but worded a little different. Next. I will bless those who bless you, curse the curse you. Curse you, bless you. Did you see that? Before it jumped, go back. Oh. So the blessings are the same that God gave Abraham, that Isaac's giving Jacob. Next. May people serve you and nations bow down, master of your brothers, mother's sons. We've already read that one. Next. And we knew that was going to happen, that the sons bow down to you, because it said 2 nations in your womb, one will be stronger than the other, the older will serve the younger. So it was prophesied that was going to happen, right? That one would be more than the other. Next. And this is not original Hebrew, but it is in the Hebrew of today. So I do want to show you. It came about as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had hardly gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. Ooh, it's getting exciting now. And by the way, when it said, when Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, here's the word they use for finished. It's kilah. And what's special about that word is, go to the next one. Kilah, this is a lamed. You can see the lamed here in the kilah, finished, right? Next. This lamed has a little lamed coming out of it. And if you remember, lamed represents the shepherd's crook. Authority. You have the right. You have the authority because you got the shepherd's crook. And this shepherd's crook, this lamed, on many Torah scrolls, you understand? Probably not the original. Maybe we don't have the original. But a lot of Torah scrolls have the lamed with a shepherd's crook sticking out of it. And that's saying the authority has the authority, that this is finished. Okay? It's really stressing this blessing is finished and it's yours. Next. It came about as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob. Jacob had hardly gone out in the presence, and Esau comes in. Then he made savory food, brought it to his father, and he said to his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me. Isaac said to him, who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Next. Then Isaac trembled violently and said, who was he then that hunted game and brought it to me, so that I ate all of it before you came and blessed him? Yes, and he shall be blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. Next. Notice it says, then Isaac trembled violently. And he trembled violently up here. What would happen right before this that made him tremble violently? Next. Go previous, just for a second. Oh, sorry. Here. Who are you? He said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. As soon as he heard that, he trembled violently. Now let's jump ahead. One more. And right there. One more. And one more. Why did Isaac tremble violently? Was he upset with Jacob for tricking him? I don't think so. I think he knows listen, Isaac has heard directly from God that the blessing is coming through Isaac. So he knows it's coming through me, and it's going to one of these two boys. And it's a really serious thing. He has to give the blessing to the right boy, and because this it has eternal consequences, right? He's heard it from Yahweh himself. And he's probably thinking Esau is the one who's going to get it. Esau is the big, strong, hairy man. And he's the one who's going to take God's rules and his covenant and his whatever and march them through the planet, right? That's who you would expect to do it. You wouldn't probably expect the little meek and mild accountant in the tent with mom to be the one to carry on this huge responsibility. And Isaac was a man of the field, and Esau was a man of the field. They're comrades. They're, in the same line. But on the other hand, was he angry at Jacob? Because instantly, when he trembled violently, he knew what Jacob did. Is he angry at Jacob? Or might he be just a little bit proud of him and go, you know what? That little rascal, he tricked me, but maybe that's what we need. Somebody who can think on their feet and maneuver this crazy world to get God's thing through. God is, of course, going to help, but you understand? He probably was a little proud of Jacob. A little rat. He way to go, kid. There could be. There could be that too. Next. And I really think Isaac realized that he had been fighting against the will of God. Right from the get-go. What is the next slide? I hope it's the one I'm thinking of. Right from the get-go, whenever Rebekah prayed, remember, it said, two nations are in your womb, two peoples in your womb. One is stronger than the other. And the older will serve the younger. So Isaac knew from the get-go that who was supposed to get the blessing. He knew before those boys were even born that the older would serve the younger. And Isaac did everything he could do to avert the will of God, or subvert the will of God. He knew Jacob was the one, because the prophecy was the older would serve the younger. But he's going to bless the older, and he's going to do everything he can to bless the older. And, why didn't he bless him right then and there? Why did he send him out to get food?
John, could it have been that he was going to follow tradition? Because tradition was that the older son got the double blessing. I'm sure that's part of it. All of these things. Isaac knows the firstborn. It's chip off the old father, all of these things. And Isaac is just trying and trying and trying to bless Esau. And no matter what he does, it gets subverted, and Jacob ends up getting it. And I think when it said he trembled violently, I think Isaac was actually realizing, oh my goodness, I almost went against the will of God. You understand? He was this close to doing what he wasn't allowed or supposed to do. And when he realized, oh, thank God that I didn't do that. God had his way, no matter how convoluted it was, but God's will got done, and Jacob got the blessing. Does that make sense? That's, I think, why he wasn't angry with Jacob. He wasn't angry at Esau. He was angry at Isaac for trying to not do what he was supposed to do. Next. What a close call that was. Whew. And that's why he ended by saying, listen, son, I've done everything I could from the get-go so that you would get the blessing. I called you in 40 years before my death to give you the blessing. And so I have tried and tried and tried. And you know what? It didn't happen. And so now Jacob is blessed. And yes, he shall be blessed. End. Right? That's what happened. According to the JKV, the John Kostik version. Next. Behold, I have received a command to bless, and when he is blessed, then I cannot revoke it. That's a thing from Numbers, because what's going to happen is Esau is going to say, well, Dad, don't you have another blessing? Can't you give me a blessing? I want a blessing. And he goes, sorry, son, I can't take it. I can't take that one back. Once a blessing is given, I can't pull it back. And I kind of blessed him with everything. There's nothing left to bless you with. And tomorrow, or whenever we do the next half, or next section, we will cover that. But as of right now, we are done. So, but we have a bonus. But it's going to take 2 minutes. We need to do what? Get on Facebook? For what? All right. For what? Mm-hmm. And what am I doing? I'm unplugging this. This cord that we moved over here, that's what I'm taking over here. Is that the dumbest hat you've ever seen? I mean, it's a beautifully dumb hat. I don't think they're watching. Where are we going? Facebook? Oh, look, it says, I am here. He's awake and ready to go. Oh. I got to do everything. Okay, how do we do this? This is not it yet, but I'm gonna. This is. They filmed one of my videos in Russian the other day. I don't know. Probably not. No, they're not going to talk to him. Yeah. This is them finishing up filming the other day. And with the volume on, he even ends his video the same way I end mine. To God be the glory, to God be the honor, to God be the praise. See you soon, bye-bye. He says that, here he is. They're filming, and he said goodbye. And then he knows that they got another camera that I'm watching, and so he's like, look, we made our video.
It has the map behind him. By the way, this is because we made so many videos over there. Since I told you the Father bought me a shirt, and I show up and wait, we have a bonus because that's I say this in all my videos. And this is the hat that a Kyrgyzstan hat. Yes. Okay. Hello. Доброе утро.
Good evening. Uncle John.
Wait, yes?
Can I have 2 minutes? 3 minutes? 3.
I'll call you back in 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye. We got 3 minutes. It's almost 8 here, so it's probably almost 7 in the morning there. It's tomorrow morning there. Yes. Oh. So much for any political career. Yeah. Yeah. They speak English. Yeah.
Right now, we're waiting on our link up from overseas, and so hang in with us a couple of more moments. They asked for 3 minutes, so we will be back. Please don't go away. Stay with us because we have a wonderful, wonderful testimony coming up.
I don't know. We have 2 wonderfuls. Just wonderful. KYR GYZ STAN. Kyrgyzstan. It's all Russian. I have no idea. Has it been 3 minutes? Pretty close, right? All right, that's all he's getting. I know. Hello? Okay, we've requested video. Hello, hello. Request. I've requested video.
There's no request. Wait, I will do it then.
Okay. You like my hat?
Yeah, I see your head. It's amazing.
You are the bonus. Hey, hold on. We got a... I'm going to turn this around because there's a camera. I don't know if you can... Okay, now I'm going to leave this here. And is it aimed at the right people? Yep. Okay, so you can see. And I'm going to move out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend and brother Maksat Teretbakov in Bishkek. I'm taking off the lovely hat because it's hot. And okay. All right, Max, you're on. Speak to Tennessee.
So the first, with everybody, and I want to say, that I'm really excited to be here with you all. Really appreciate it. Let me introduce myself. And as you know already, this small country, 7 years old, we met with Uncle John almost like 7 years ago. I know that Uncle John first after like a mentor, teacher for the truth. So let me check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So today I'm gonna be a brief and short story. Help me to think positive. We all in this world looking for the kind of formula that will decide our daily problems. A lot of other problems like money, health, whatever becomes so better. Find answer for all these. Uh, I'm telling about myself. I always listen what people say, what older, what parents say, read a books like economical book and literature book, but people wrote it. I don't mean that they follow our mentor or parents in life. Good. Our parents never wish us bad, right? But again, this life kind of tough if you don't know the truth. Oh, by the way, about the books, there's a lot of good writers just like Daniel Carnegie and Fonda, Napoleon Hill, and I can make a list of the writers. Like they are writing about money and start living now. You have to realize that money is not happiness. Poor versus life become easier. Everyone know about this. Why? Everyone, why did why everyone think that happiness do Taylor? So recently, kind of, I realized that. Okay, my short story is about the happiness and perseverance. One day, for the coronavirus, Uncle John, one day before the coronavirus, one guy from America speak with me during the whole period. I think I the whole period of the top day for 5 months. Actually, we were planning his trip to Kyrgyzstan for 10 days. This is the guy with the crazy head. Hold his head like that. Yeah. He's like a preacher. This year it's been, I counted and it actually it's been 7 years. The moment that I met him. This is, when someone teach you and tell some lesson from the people who you don't know, it sounds it sounds crazy because now there is other religion. We look with from the other angle to the world, and it was the first was really different. So I want to emphasize. I was talking about the book, and I want to emphasize the story that covers two books, like the big writers like Napoleon Hill and Ken Honda. Everything they teach about you have to be happy and you have to believe in yourself and stuff. And Uncle John, he teach. I started reading them like years or 2 years ago maybe. But Uncle John, when I met Uncle John, he was teaching all that stuff before these two books. He was telling me, rely on God. With God is everything possible. With God, get everything. Just ask Him right, right things. Like, I ask Him, like Uncle John, you saying ask Him the right things. And what it can be, every people kind of in this world ask, oh God, please, $1 million, give me the good car. I'm pretty young, like met him when I was 20 years old, and 20 years old guy asked for God, like 20 years old, man, he don't realize this world truth and all of this world. I was thinking like, why I don't have money, why I don't and all that stuff, right? So after I start realizing, I'm thinking like, wow, this is crazy. And 5 months, gave me the like a real quality of the Bible and really quality that Uncle John were saying about all these. People here in Kyrgyzstan were saying this like, don't now you like Messiah, Jesus, came to spread the gospel here, and this is true because I was thinking that I'm considering myself like only man who see that Uncle John is telling the truth, but even the people with having other religion, they were wow, and like Messiah. But why they were saying this? Every reply, every time I would greet them, I was, why you greet every people? Why you doing this? Why you on the store? Why you buying for people that you don't know something? The answer was, they like Jesus. No, this was really amazing, and he showed me how. And where the moments like this, I start realizing when Uncle John were saying actually, I was really depressed and kind of stuff, but was saying like worry about this whole God is everything possible and be positive, think positive. I found all these Uncle John's words on his book, there everything, and I realized that people read the beautiful books and they copying from it, kind of from the Bible. Maybe they're not copying, but you don't have to go and read this much of books how to, I don't know, how to become rich, how to be inspired. You just need a book. Old Testament. This is beautiful books that necessary information, the quality gospel in this world. So, and now I want to really say, Uncle John, thank you for the truth. So, he's the man who cares about life of million other people. When we are even in restaurant or cafe, he not eager to eat. First he think, wow, all these people support him. He's kind of get sad about this. So this is I want to say he is acting exactly like the same he talking about. Sorry, I can't start telling my story. Do it right now.
Okay, you got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Unless it's really good about me, then I'll give you 10.
Now I start telling all the fools about you.
Okay. Well, we got to get going.
Okay, this is the story. This is really nice, but short, nice, and teachable. I guess, this story. One day we were walking with Uncle John. Always we were talking about. We were walking and he was talking about Jesus, about the Bible, you know. And at some point he said, "Stop, stop. What happened?" He was pointing at something. Look, you see that rock? I was like, yes. What happened? I was pointing. Look, that stone. It looks like a tear. No, I did see the rock, but it was just huge, and it was far away from the house. So just to clarify, I pointed that stone with my finger and asked that stone, you can turn that. That the first, my inner voice said, "Okay, good luck, Uncle John. It's impossible to move." And I said it out loud actually to him. Impossible, Uncle. What are you talking about? The first, it's huge. And the second, it's really far from the house. At this moment, he again, like, positive man, like, but
A ninja.
is everything possible? And I said, okay, so what? We think about he was staying like for a couple minutes, and we move on. You know, we found other two, no, other in total guys the same way. I think like 500 kilograms. I don't know how much is it. It turned out was 600 pounds. Wait, I will check it now.
1,500 pounds.
It's about 1,000. I can't say that Uncle John paid money for my best lesson in my life. Never think you possible. Look for a fortune. Fortunate, everything is possible. I did spend a dime. I didn't spend a dime for this lesson. He paid for this best lesson. He flew from America to Kyrgyzstan. It's quite far. And a lot of, no, actually, you were saying about before, but I was so blind. I couldn't, I was hearing, but I couldn't understand it. I started thinking that everything is possible with God. So it all, I want to say that people do not have to, it's not necessary to read some motivational book to become rich, happy. everything with a good mentor like that control. Actually, with this is Bible, it has the best rules which will make you happier. Get in the higher. When I realized that my mentor tell the truth, group, subtle moments like Uncle Dom. I never will forget that 5 months, the beautiful moments where I got that listen. Gold.
Huge, huge.
Yeah. I think that's all. No, if you let me, I can tell more stories.
How about tomorrow night? Yeah, they've already been here 2.5 hours listening to me.
Oh, that's what I understand why they are so
Well, let's call you tomorrow night, and you can tell another story if you want. Does that works? Thank you for joining us. Where's your lovely bride?
It's pretty early now.
Okay. Okay, well, tomorrow wake her up so we can see her as well. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
God bless you, everyone. See you.
Spokojna noche. Okay. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Well, there's MaxDOT, and it really was that. It was just a magical 5 minutes. And you know what? We are to be Jesus-like, and I've told you before, we all fall short. But whenever you go to a godless communist place, you stand out like a sore thumb, and it was really fun. Okay. Oh, absolutely. $32. 2 chairs. Another day, 32. Yeah. This is wonderful. Last year, I usually would fly into Chattanooga. I could fly to Chattanooga for $120, $130, and then rent a car, but you had to drive 2 hours, and I had to pay for a rental car. I had to pay for gas, and if I wanted to fly straight into Knoxville, it was always $400 from Texas, and I didn't want to pay $400. That's why I flew to Chattanooga, and this year, round trip, $79 to Knoxville. To Knoxville. Yeah, it was disappointing because they had overbooked the flight, and they were offering maybe $300 if you gave up your seat to get bumped. And I was on the list, man. I was going to get Yeah. And we got 2 minutes. I'll tell you this story because this happened years ago, and it was my favorite bump story. Well, I got two favorite bump stories, but this is one. I'm in New York City, and I needed to get back to Texas one way. It was summer holiday or something. I was up there, and to fly from New York to Houston was like $375, and I thought, one way, I just can't do it. And I just toiled with it, and then one time I thought, I wonder if I should check to see how much it would fly to Austin or San Antonio, or I put in El Paso. And El Paso, from New York City to El Paso, was $75 one way. It was on United, and it had one stop in Houston. So I booked the flight, $75. I fly to Houston. I'm landing in a rainstorm, and when I get off the plane, there's the continuation flight, the next gate for the flight to El Paso, which I ain't going to El Paso, right? I'm just going to just walk out and get in my car and go home. But as I'm walking past the El Paso desk, it had a sign that said, "We are overbooked. Would you like to give up your seat?" Yeah. How much you giving? $300. I said, okay, I'll give up my seat. Okay. Yes. They just ignore it. It's like if we're on the farm, it's a dirt road with houses on both sides. And I'd walk up to the store to buy candy or something. And if someone's walking towards you, and there's just two of you, or maybe it's Max and Kay and I, the three of us going this way, and if somebody's coming towards you, yeah, you're like, hey, good morning, dobry utra. Yeah, you acknowledge their being. They don't do that. They just keep their head down and keep walking, and no one ever says hello. It could be communism. It could be a little of Islam. It could be who knows what. But they would not. And I said hello to everybody. And he said, "You can't do that." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, if you say hi to a guy, he's going to think you're gay. And if you say hi to a woman, she's going to think you're hitting on her." And I said, "Well, it's like an old woman, like a babushka thing, you know." She didn't, and I only know 10 words, dobry utra, good morning and good night, and things like this. Whenever we're in the grocery store buying something, I always look to see who's behind me. If they're buying junk and vodka and nothing. But if they're buying food, I always just say, "Here, put this on there too." And that just, they went crazy. "What are you doing?" And I would tell the people, "Listen, this is from Jesus. Pass it on. Help somebody." And I would get him to translate because nobody spoke English, or very, very few. You know, this is my gift to you. You pass it on to somebody else. And nobody ever does that to them. You know, to pay for somebody's gas at the gas station. I would pay for their gas. What? Why would you do that? Why not? So just little things like that. And candy. You could buy those little mini Snickers and Kit Kats and, okay. And I bet I bought thousands of them because I would tie a bag onto my belt And if we're walking down the street and hey, how are you? Dobre jutra. And I'd give everybody one. And honestly, by the end of our 5 months, we had a block party. And we invited neighbors, and we had a big bonfire. And in the coals, we put corn on the cob. And they had never put corn on the cob in hot coals to cook, you know. And just things where the neighbors came and, oh, you're my neighbor. Hi, my name's Vladimir. You know, everybody met each other, and they just did not do that. I think they will. Yes, I think they did, because Max told me that they had the neighbors come over the other day for corn or a fire or something. It's not, this is one of the stands that's not a crazy stand. Yeah. I've got a whole room full of them now. Yeah, this is Mary. She came from High Point, North Carolina. And I think you're here for the week? No, great. Janice. Janice has been a friend on Facebook forever. This is the first time I think we've met, or yesterday, but she posts things on my thing. I read them all. I don't watch the videos or any links you send because I don't have time. But I was surprised when she said, "Oh, Janice, yes, you've been friends forever." So, and she's from Chattanooga. This is Chris. Chris and I met in middle school, and we attended a lot of church functions together, and we were friends throughout high school, and we've remained friends ever since. And she lives in Atlanta, and she is going to Nashville to visit one of her daughters, and she had been looking forward to coming and getting a I thought it was getting a free dinner, but no, it's learning the Hebrew. And this is Davy. Davy is from Chennai, India, originally, or near. Okay, is it in southern India? Southern India. India as in the subcontinent. Yeah. And but she now lives in Atlanta, or south of Atlanta. Noonan. And she wrote to me a few years ago about, because she has seen my Bereshit talk, and we've done it in Russian with Max. We've done it in Indonesian. We've done it in French. We've done it in Bengali. We've redone it in many different languages. And she said she would love to have it redone in Tamil, which is the language of southern India. So I sent her the slides. She translated all the words into Tamil and sent it back to me. And then, you know how my slides have a certain look to them, a certain color combination. I mean, I took all of her Tamil writing and recolored it and sized it so that now the whole talk looks like a Dutch uncle talk, but you can't read it because it's in Hebrew and Tamil. And tomorrow, I called her last week and said, "Listen, I just haven't got to Atlanta to do this yet, but we still need to do it." And I said, "How far are you from Seymour?" She said, where? But she agreed to come up because it's Sukkot, and she came up to film. And tomorrow we are going to stand in front of that wall, and we're going to film the Bereshit talk in Tamil. And I will speak, and she will translate, and that reaches a whole new gang. And we have another fellow in the back, Andy, and he's the one who's living in the tent outside. Are you ready for this? Andy came from Chicago. He gets the most traveled award. 9 hours? 10 hours? Oh. Yes, he's an East Tom. An innocent man who lives in tents, and he came here because of Dutch Uncle John videos, or so he claims. I still can't believe it. But I had breakfast with him yesterday, and we broke bread, and it was just wonderful. And his heart is in the right place, and so is he. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Vicky. Ooh. Yeah. I can tell that story. You want it now or do you want it tomorrow? Because it's 9:30 already. We'll do it tomorrow. It's already 9:30, and she's up and ready, and the keys are in her hands. Candy. It's a good one. Okay, God bless, and thanks for coming. May God keep you safe on your way home. Good night.